Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Rangers Adjacent, or welcome to Rangers Adjacent. If you guys are new, this is an offshoot of our podcast, Baseball Adjacent, where I get to be a homer and talk about the Texas Rangers. Today, we are talking about the opening day roster that just got announced. This video's hitters, the next one's pitchers. Thought I'd break it up a little bit. Like and subscribe if you guys are new. Apparently, hyping videos is on YouTube now. I don't know what that means, but do it. I don't know what it does, so maybe don't. Maybe, I don't know. I think today we're just going position by position in the field. That feels like the easiest way to do this, I think. Just like gut reactions on guys, what role I think they're going to play over the season. Do I think they're going to make it through the season? Expectations, all that good stuff, whatever comes to mind as we're going through this. Should be a good one. I guess let me know down in the comment section below what surprises you have on the roster and what you think is going to happen over the course of the season. Let me start by saying this team has hit really well in spring training. And I know, it's like, but Josh, it's just spring training. And that's true. But man, after last year and how miserable the offense was, I feel cautiously optimistic about the offense this year. It feels like we're walking more, we're putting up more runs. The at bats visually look better from the games we've gotten to watch on stream or telecast or wherever. The at bats look better. It looks like there's less give up at bats. So I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic, I think, is the way that I would phrase that, even though the team is largely the same. But there's differences mixed in throughout. So let's start. Let's go through some of these. Let's go through the roster. At catcher, we have kept two catchers. It's Danny Jansen, who we added in the offseason, and Kyle Higashioka, who was on the roster last year. I imagine this is like a platoon situation. I imagine they'll split time relatively evenly until one of them like clearly wins the job. My gripe last year was the platoon or the catching tandem was Hyman Higashioka, and anytime Higashioka was catching, it felt like it was a free second base to steal, which isn't my favorite. And I imagine that is still going to be the feeling I have this year, at least early until he proves otherwise. But Danny Jansen, I think, adds some stability back there. I think both of them are going to be able to hit reasonably well for catchers. Danny Jansen, from watching, reminds me a little bit of Mitch Garver from was 2022, 2021, whenever that was. That's kind of what he reminds me of. And honestly, if he can fill that role and catch more than Garver did, and I know there was injuries for Garver, I feel good about the catching position that we have. There's certainly, you could look and there's better catching tandems out there, at least on the surface, but I feel comfortable with the two that we're rocking. I'm not overjoyed that Heim is gone, but I am semi-relieved, I guess, because it felt like he had a career year in 2023 and then just hadn't really been there the last couple of years at the highest level. So I don't know. It'll be a fresh start, I guess, for Jansen and for us at the catcher position, at least semi-fresh. Let's go around the infield now. At first base, Jake Burger figures to be the starter. Josh Smith figures to start at second base. Corey Seager is a shortstop. Josh Young is the third baseman. That's your starting infield probably most days if everybody stays healthy, and that's a big if because last year injuries popped up all over the place. We'll start with Corey Seager because he feels like the most foundational piece there. He's going to play 130 games, 135 games, right? We're going to have, 2 weeks where he's out with something that just feels to be the way that it is, which is okay because when he's on the field, it's an MVP level shortstop. So I'm excited for that. I'm hoping for like 30, 35 home runs from Seager. 100 plus RBIs would be awesome. I like he is. We're gonna kind of go as Corey Seager goes. I'm pretty high on Seager still. Obviously, it's hard to be low on Seager. You'd love for him to be on the field 162 games a year. I just don't know that that's really feasible for him. I think it's more of like 140-ish games at best type of vibe. But he's like the most foundational piece in the infield, at least to me. He's like the veteran presence, get your stuff done guy. His co-partner up the middle, Josh Smith, I'm excited for. It feels like this is maybe the first time we've gone into a season and Smith has like a defined role. Last year, and again due to injury, he was playing kind of all over the place. It felt like he was at second, he was playing short, he was playing third. He's played the outfield in his career. Like he is a super utility guy, but I do think that it's going to be good for him to have a position at least to start before he's got to rotate due to injury or whatever. And it's great to have that flexibility. Um, but I'm excited for him as well. I hope he takes another step forward, or at least maintains where he was, because I think that's a really good second base slash middle infielder to have. Now, Jake Burger is the first baseman. He last year flat out was not good at times. He ended the year with a 99 OPS plus. He only played 103 games. At one point, we sent him down um, to like figure it out in AAA, which isn't always what you want from your starting first baseman. Um, and I don't like. It's interesting to me. To me, this is the make or break year for Burger, at least in Texas. It's his 30-year-old season. You would like for him to hit like 25 home runs feels pretty attainable. Last year he hit 16 in 103 games. And again, there was injuries, there was a send down in there. But I think 25 homers for him feels attainable because we brought him in, if we think way back, as a guy to bring right-handed power to the lineup, and he didn't super supply that last year. Again, limited time, I get it, but I don't know, a 99 OPS plus from your first baseman to me just doesn't cut it. I think especially because I think this team should figure to be better, and a big part of that is going to rely on Burger being better, and if he's not better, finding a first baseman that will be better than a league average hitter, which is essentially what he was last year. I mean, I think it'll happen. I would like to imagine that he ends in like the 115 OPS plus range. Um, that feels attainable to me, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. He is one of the question marks I have on this team, and there is a bunch of them. That is part of the reason why we're splitting up pitchers and hitters, because there's a lot of questions I have as we continue through. The next question I have is Josh Young. What are we going to get out of him this year? Young is going to be the everyday third baseman as long as he's healthy. But again, this feels like another make or break year for a guy on our roster. He's coming off of a 2023 where he was like a rookie of the year 4, right? He was fourth place in rookie of the year voting in the year that we won the World Series. He made the All-Star team. He showed the ability that year to be good, to be a good major league third baseman, and we thought that was just going to continue to grow. 2024, obviously, injuries happened. Last year, some injuries happened, came back, never really felt right. I think he was also a guy that got sent down last year, ended the year with 100 OPS plus. Again, you'd like a little better from your third baseman. And I like injuries aren't something you can totally control, especially because it feels like his are like a lot of just like freak stuff. But you got to be on the field, right? I that sounds cruel, maybe. I believe that he if he's on the field, he can be like a 3-WAR player, like a 20 home run guy. Hopefully, I would be thrilled if he hit 20, 25 homers, drove in. I don't know, let's call it 80 RBIs or something like that as like the 6-hole hitter or whatever he winds up being. Um, I don't know. It's an interesting year for Young because he's really only played, let's call it, 2 full seasons in 2023 and last year, and even last year he was injured. In 2023, he played 122 games in the regular season, so he really hasn't played like 162 games. It's back to the Seager thing we were talking about. Is he a guy that only, is healthy for 130, 140 games a year? Is that kind of the way that it's trending? It feels to me kind of like it is, and that's okay if you're an elite hitter. I feel like it's less okay if you're a league average hitter, but time will tell. I mean, I say he's young. This is his 28-year-old season. So, to me it's a make or break year for Young. I would like to imagine I'm optimistic on Young, but I'm not like foolishly blind thinking that he's a sure shot going to be great this year player. I just I don't know. I don't see that as like a 100% sure shot that it's going to be fine. But there's a world that it's fine. And he plays his 140 games, let's call it, hits his 25 homers, plays good enough defense, drives in 80 RBIs. Uh, and then we're all fine with that, right? That can play at a major league level. I think if he gets banged up again, it's tough, but I don't know. You probably are looking at other options at third base in the offseason, at least to supplement that beyond just Josh Smith or Ezekiel Duran, who is, I guess, the last infielder that the Rangers have kept on their opening day roster. Again, another huge question to me is what role does Ezekiel Duran play on this team? Not to jump ahead, but we have kept Andrew McCutchen, and it feels like Duran was going to be a DH platoon with Jock Peterson. We'll talk about the DHs in a minute. But with McCutchen on the team, it feels like some of that has gone away. It feels like it's probably McCutchen is going to be the right hand DH option. So then Duran is just like the utility guy. Yeah, I mean, Duran is just like the super utility guy. Last year, he played every position except for center field and catcher, and it appears he did pitch. I don't remember that. I probably have blocked that from my memory for good reason. Maybe I'll overlay a clip of him pitching if I can find it on Savant. But he's a guy that can play all over the place, and there is value in that. You would like for that to be a hitter that hits better than a 65 OPS plus. Again, 2023, he was phenomenal, as all the Rangers were. I get it. Everybody had a career year that year. He played 122 games, had a 110 OPS plus, was playing all over the place, hit 14 homers, 22 doubles. He was a good player that year. He just has fallen off so much with the bat. I mean, last year he hit 224 like batting average. He had a 559 OPS, which is not awesome. It's a 65 OPS plus, so that puts him like in the 65th percentile of hitters. Well below like league average, right? And you make up for that some defensively, but on a team that last year did not hit well, and on a team that this year is largely the same, and while spring training was good, we're still not sure they're going to hit phenomenally. It's a big question to me, and if it doesn't start well, I wonder what his role is on this team, besides like potentially defensive replacement late or whatever. It is a good guy to have. I just I don't. It feels like Josh Smith probably plays that role a little bit better than Duran, at least at the plate, and he plays all the same positions. I don't know what his role looks like long term. But the flip side to that, all of that, is he's still like kind of young. This is like his age 27 season, so he like kind of has time, I guess. But like, I don't know because I know the Rangers like Cody Freeman, who is starting this year, I believe, on the injured list. So when he's healthy enough to come up, if it's not going well for Duran, does he get sent down? It feels like he's probably the one that's most on the bubble to be sent down. I don't know. I have a lot of questions. This is probably the biggest question mark to me on the entire team at this moment is does Duran make it through the season one? And then if he does, what kind of actual role is he playing? How many games is he getting into? Because there will be injuries, right? Young is going to get injured at some point. Seager is going to miss a week or two, throughout the season. Berger will miss a week. Like injuries happen, right? People are going to get banged up. Does Duran just slot in immediately, or do we look in other places if we need a long-term fix at a position, or even semi-long-term? Like if something happens and we're like, Berger pulled a hammy or something, and we need a first baseman for a couple of weeks, do we just rock Duran out there for a couple of weeks, or do we call somebody up? That's a question for me because it's one thing to have you know, somebody fill in for a day or two or even like a series. It's a totally different thing, in my opinion, once you start getting into that 2.5, 3 weeks area. And at this point, I just haven't, as a fan, seen enough in Duran to kind of believe in it. I hope he proves me wrong, but that's where I'm at on the Ezekiel Duran experiment. Let's move on to the outfield. It's kind of what we expected, in my opinion. I mean, Wyatt Langford is going to play left, probably, unless it's Nimmo or Carter. Those are the three outfielders in some order. I feel like they could fluctuate positions. I think Langford or Carter could play center, and either of them could play left. Nimmo could play left. Either Carter or Langford could play right. I feel okay about any combination of those, right? Um, Langford, when I look at him, and this is for sure like Rangers bias is taking over here a little bit, like hometown bias for sure. When I watch him, all the tools are there for him to like pop off accidentally like a 30 homer, 50 steal season, which is like, depending on what Aaron Judge does, an MVP caliber season, or at least like in that discussion. Um, he's certainly like all-star caliber for sure if he puts it all together. He just needs to put it all together. I think he can. Like when I watch him, if he continues to develop and takes another step forward, there's a world to me that he's a top outfielder in the league and certainly in the Rangers organization, right? I don't know, like the speed is there, the power is there, the glove is there, all of it's kind of there. He's got to take another step forward. I so believe he's going to do that. He to me is the cornerstone of the team of the outfield in the same way that Seager is the cornerstone of the infield. It feels like he's kind of the leader of this group, um, and I'm excited to see what he does this year. This is like maybe the player I'm most excited to see this year is Wyatt Langford and what he does at the plate. Another guy I'm excited to see is Evan Carter because Carter again, he came up in 2023. He was on that playoff team, made that crazy catch in Houston. He's had moments. He also has had a lot of injuries, right? He's had back injuries. He's had neck injuries. He's had stuff that's like scary for a young 20-year-old player to come back from. And I so understand why they have like kind of nursed that back a little bit. They haven't rushed him. The most games he's played in the season was actually last year. He played 63 games. While he was on the field, he was phenomenal, right? That's not the problem. The problem is having him on the field. I'm hoping this year he's healthy, but we'll see, right? I mean, it feels like he's taken a step forward against lefties this offseason, and that was one of the things that he needs to improve on, obviously, because the splits historically haven't been great. And also, the eye test would tell you he doesn't look the most comfortable against a lefty on the mound, which is tough. Um, but yeah, I think as an everyday outfielder, Carter is going to be great. This is his 23-year-old season, right? This is a young man that we're rocking into the outfield. And I kind of believe that if he's on the field, it's going to be electric. I just don't know that I trust it being on the field. Right? That's kind of the whole trick to the Evan Carter thing. Can he be on the field? If he's on the field, he's awesome. When he's not, well, he's just not on the field. But, obviously, I hope he plays like 140 games this year. That would be phenomenal. I would take even like 120, right? That'd be double what he was last year. That probably puts him as like a 4 or 5 WAR player if he's playing center field every day. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I imagine he'll have some DH time to kind of like keep him off his feet as they try to ease him into playing every day. Uh, but we'll see. We'll see how we go. And then the third starting outfielder is for sure Brandon Nimmo, who we got from the Mets this offseason. If you were unaware, he was the piece we received back from Marcus Semien. And I hope that Brandon Nimmo just is Brandon Nimmo. He's 33 this year. He's basically been somewhere between like a 115 and a 130 OPS plus his entire career. And honestly, we'll take that. You need a guy that just comes in every day, logs games, and just is consistent. And it feels like that's what Brandon Nimmo is going to be. I believe he hit a home run last night, actually, as I record this. I don't like. I'm excited to see what he does. I kind of have a feeling I know what he's going to do. It's going to be like 20 to 23 homers. I don't know. 80, 90 RBIs, 120 OPS plus would be awesome. Solid defense in the field. And that's what I'm expecting from him. I'm also expecting for him to play like 150 games. That would be awesome. And we need that. We need one of those because as I've gone through this, I'm starting to realize there's more and more injury questions than I kind of thought that there was. So having him on the field every day would be phenomenal, actually. Also, I'm looking at his baseball reference page. 2018, he got hit by 22 pitches, and he's not really come close to that since then, which is just funny to me. That's an oddity for sure. Led the league in 2018 in hit by pitches. Hopefully that doesn't happen this year because we need him on the field. But yeah, Brandon Nimmo, I expect Brandon Nimmo to be good this year. That's the short of it. He doesn't need to be incredible. It doesn't need to be MVP level. I just need him to be good, right? The Rangers just need him and expect him to be good. It's definitely an upgrade from what we've gotten out of the Marcus Semien bat in the last couple of years for sure. And we need that. We need that on this team because the hitting is, to me, still a big question mark. The last outfielder we are keeping is Sam Haggerty, who played 64 games last year. One of my favorite players last year, like a bright spot for me on the team last year, was what we got out of Sam Haggerty. He played 64 games. He was not an everyday player by any means over the course of the season, but he did have stretches due to injury that he played. He played a lot. He played every outfield position. He played some second base. It feels like he would be a fan favorite if he made it into, I don't know, 90 games this year. He gives you some flexibility, obviously, right? Smith can move over somewhere and Haggerty could play second for a minute. He was good last year. He had 106 OPS plus. That's better than what we thought was going to happen from him, if we're all real honest with ourselves. It feels like there's a role for him on this team. I like him as the fourth outfielder for sure. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you. I'm comfortable with him as the fourth outfielder. Even if he needs extended playing time, I would like to see what he has over 90 games, 100 games, right? If needed. Hopefully it's not needed, but if it was, I would feel comfortable this year running him out for 100 games just to see it. And then you can make a decision after that, obviously, as to what you wanted to do. But I don't know. I'm pretty bullish on Sam Haggerty. By no means do I think all-star, but good role player. He's a good guy to have on the roster, I think. Great fourth outfielder to have, in my opinion, especially with some of the injury concerns that we talked about with Carter. So excited about that. I guess the fifth outfielder in this equation is Andrew McCutchen, who he joined the Rangers like a couple of weeks ago and has kind of tore it up in spring training. It's unbelievable. He's hitting doubles, he's hitting homers. Every time I look, he's hitting a rocket somewhere. It's been awesome. It's been great to watch. I'm glad he is still in the league. I'm glad he's a Ranger? Question mark. I don't really know how we got him. I mean, shout out Pittsburgh, I guess, letting him walk. I think they told him he should retire, is what I read earlier. But yeah, McCutchen, it's gonna be interesting. I have a hard time believing that he's going to play, 120 games, but I could for sure see him as the platoon with Joc Pederson. It is definitely Joc Pederson insurance, and we'll talk about Joc in a minute. But Andrew McCutchen has for sure shown the ability to play the outfield. I can't imagine he is in the outfield a lot, but I do think he's going to DH quite a bit for this team. It's Joc Pederson insurance. That's all it is. I'm excited that he's on the team. I think that's like a great veteran presence to have, actually. I'm excited to see what he does. He, again, is another player that I have circled that I'm excited to watch just to see, because it's an unknown thing, right? I don't know what Andrew McCutchen is going to do for us, right? He was a 95 OPS plus guy last year, which is, a little bit below league average. The year before that, he was a 106 OPS plus guy. If he's a 106 guy, you're feeling pretty awesome about it. He played 135 games last year. DHing corner outfield. That's probably what he'll do this year. I feel like he'll play less here, but we'll see. It's a good piece to have, in my opinion. It's just a good piece to have, I think. I'm not like high on McCutchen. I mean, I am. Like, I'm excited that he's a Ranger for sure. I would be stunned if he plays more than 130 games, right, at the absolute highest. And that, of course, is predicated on Joc Pederson being better than he was last year. It's no secret. I'm not going to sit here and dunk on Joc for, 10 minutes or however long, but he was bad last year. There's no way around that. 81 OPS plus guy. He hit 181, had a couple of homers, kind of like semi turned it around at the end of the season. So we'll see. It hasn't been great in spring training, and I know it's like spring training, but 100% you would rather him be good in spring training than bad, especially coming off what was a pretty bad year for Joc. I think even Joc would say that was not his best, right? I don't know. It's everybody, the argument for Joc, right? Because I can hear the comments. If you made it this far, thank you. Hit subscribe. The argument's going to be, why don't we DFA Joc? It's a lot of money to just cut him, so I get that, but it's a lot of money to pay to somebody to just sit on the bench also. But I mean, there's flashes of it, right? He had a pretty big homer last year against the Yankees, if I recall. And that gave us like a glimmer of hope for that second. But I don't know. I like that we have McCutchen because it's for sure good insurance to have. But I'd like for Joc to be better, obviously. I just don't really trust that it will be better, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's every single Rangers hitter talked about at least a little bit. I don't know. Expectations for this team? I would love it if we had a league average offense, right? And that sounds like so attainable to do. But if we had a league average offense last year, we'd probably make a deep run. in the playoffs with the starting pitching we had. So league average would be awesome. I think we have the guys that can get there. Um, injuries are part of the game, obviously. So I'm sure there'll be one because there just always is that pops up that just lingers for the season or whatever. But like league average offense to me feels attainable for this team. Um, you know, everybody's gonna love to say top 10 offense. I would take top 15, top 17, right? I think that's attainable. I think if we do that, we're a pretty good team. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I guess let me know down in the comment section below. Hey, if you made this far, thank you. But let me know what your expectations for this team are, what you think is going to happen. And we'll see y'all tomorrow with the pitchers.